It's gotten so bad that it's to the point where I can no longer ethically recommend people become a Lyft driver. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Adam Bartnick. I have been a Lyft driver for a while. I've given over 6,000 Lyft rides, okay? And this video is gonna be all about why I am leaving Lyft, probably for good, unless they make a couple changes, and why I'm actually gonna be switching to an Uber driver, okay? But first, I'm gonna park, and then I'm gonna tell you all about it. All right guys, so now I'm safely parked, and I wanna dig into what Lyft has done to really piss me off recently in just a second. But first, I wanna say that I have not always been a disgruntled Lyft driver. When I started out, Lyft was perfect. I was super happy with it. I was getting paid well, and it was an awesome gig for me at the time. So when I started driving Lyft, I was actually working a 9-to-5 job, and I didn't really like this job. And I was just 3 days into driving Lyft when I realized that I could actually go full-time driving Lyft, and I would be making more money driving Lyft full-time than I would at my 9-to-5 job where I had to wear a suit and a tie, using my college degree. I didn't quit on the third day of driving Lyft, but I quit pretty shortly after that. So I drove Lyft full-time for about a year, and I absolutely loved it. I met a lot of really cool people during that year, and it was kind of the first time in my life where I've had complete control over what I do on a daily basis and complete control of my schedule for a year, right? Because I never had to go to a job because I could turn the app on whenever I wanted to, and I'd juggle my time between working as a Lyft driver and also working on creative work that I was doing, some different side projects, right? And I was actually making some pretty good money. My very best week, I made over $1,700 in a single week, and every single month I was saving an extra $2,000 to $3,000. So Lyft was, I was pretty happy with it. It was good times for a while, but times changed, right? Lyft ultimately made a whole bunch of changes to make it so that drivers can no longer make as much money, which ultimately led to me now making this video and why I am quitting Lyft and I'm gonna be transitioning to Uber. And I am doing this because I believe it's gonna be a lot better to be an Uber driver right now, which I'll get to why in just a second. But also I'm gonna be documenting this whole process of becoming an Uber driver and letting you know what I think about being an Uber driver. Lyft corporate has been gradually making changes that are hurting drivers and have basically driven wages all the way down to, well, where they are today. All right, so with no further ado, these are the reasons that I am no longer driving Lyft. All right, so the first reason that I am leaving Lyft, probably for good, is that, at least at the moment, there are too many drivers on the Lyft platform. It used to be that when I would log in to drive Lyft, I would turn the app on and I would basically immediately get a ride request. And I would always have the next ride lined up before I dropped the last passenger off. Now, when I turn the Lyft app on, I sometimes have to wait a very long time to get a ride request. And what I've found is that when I will go into the Lyft passenger app to see where the next closest drivers are around me, right? You can do that. You can go into the passenger app and see where the closest drivers are to you. I'll do that while I'm driving, and I'll see, I'll be sitting downtown on a city block and there'll be 10 or 15 other cars on the same city block as I am, also just waiting for ride requests. There are simply way too many drivers on the road. And what that means is it's making Lyft less profitable for each one of us. And this actually leads right into point number 2, the second reason why I am leaving Lyft for good. The second reason I'm leaving Lyft is that I used to be able to rely on Lyft's bonuses every single week. And Lyft has since restructured their bonus program where you're no longer able to rely on these bonuses. If you're not familiar with Lyft's Power Driver bonus, basically the way it works is Lyft will offer drivers a bonus. And they don't offer it to you every single week, but when I was driving full time, most weeks they would offer me a bonus of $250 when I had given my 120th ride for the week. So back in the day, I used to have to drive for around 50 to 55 hours a week to hit 120 rides in a week, on average, let's say. Now, if I was going to drive full time today with how many drivers there are on the roads, in order to hit that 120 rides in a week, I'd probably have to drive around 65 hours every week just to hit that 120 rides for the week to earn the $250 bonus. And because I no longer drive full time, there's no way that I am gonna give 120 rides in a week. And even if I was driving full time, 65 hours a week is just too much to drive every single week, in my opinion, to earn that money. So that's a big reason why I'm leaving Lyft. But what really bugs me with this is that this number is not the same number for every single driver. I've talked to many other drivers that only have to give around 50 rides a week or so, and then they earn an extra $80 or something like that, right? The way that Lyft structures this power driver bonus is they give each driver a metric that's kind of like a stretch metric, something that's going to make it, that's probably achievable based off of their past driving, but is like a stretch goal. We're going to make this driver push extra hard, and if they drive harder than they normally drive, if they put in more hours than they normally do, then they're going to earn this bonus. But because I'm no longer driving full time, I can no longer hit 120 rides in a week. I would absolutely love it if Lyft gave me the option to earn an extra $60 or $80 a week for my first 50 rides. But I've called them several times on the phone, spoken to their representatives, and there's no way of changing that. It seems like to me at this point, forever in the Lyft platform, for me to earn a power driver bonus, it will be, I have to give 120 rides, and then it's either $250, it's an all or nothing thing. They won't give me any of the options that they give to other drivers. All right, last but not least, reason number 3 why I am no longer a Lyft driver. This is the worst thing that Lyft has done, in my opinion, is they stopped paying drivers prime time or surge pricing, okay? If you're not familiar with what prime time is, basically prime time or surge pricing is when a whole lot of passengers are all leaving the same area at a specific time, right? Let's say a football game gets out of the stadium, or it's bar close and it's the middle of winter, everyone's leaving the bar at the same time, and because everyone is leaving the same place at the same time, what Lyft used to do, and Uber still does this, by the way, this is why we're gonna get to this in a second, but what Lyft used to do is, in order to encourage more drivers to be at that area where everyone's leaving, because there's one area, one bar, let's say, one area of bars, the downtown area, where everyone is leaving the same place at the same time, what Lyft used to do is they would charge increased rates to passengers, and then drivers would make an increased rate for picking people up from those areas, because the demand for rides was really high in those areas and the supply was currently low. In order to balance out the supply and demand, Lyft would pay drivers more for picking people up downtown when bars let out and stuff like that. And they would also charge passengers more. Well, this is the thing. So sometime around Lyft's IPO, when Lyft went public on the New York Stock Exchange, I can't remember if it was right before or right after. I could look it up. I probably should have for this video, but I didn't. Somewhere around then, Lyft decided to stop paying drivers prime time. So currently what's happening is, when a bar's letting out in downtown and there's a lot of passengers that all need rides from a place, guess what? Lyft is still making those passengers pay more, but Lyft is not paying drivers anymore for those rides. So for me, that was the final straw. I used to make all my money, a lot of my money, a good percentage of my money at bar close on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, because all of a sudden, every single ride those rides were a multiple of the original price, right? If I would normally make $10 for a ride. I was making $30 per ride. And that was great. That was awesome. Well, guess what? Now passengers are still paying 3 times more, but drivers are not seeing any of that income. That is the third and final reason that I am leaving Lyft, at least for now, probably for good. And so what am I going to be doing next, you might be wondering? So it's time to try Uber. It's time to give Uber a try. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to report back to you guys because I hear they still pay prime time to their drivers, okay? Which in these winter months in Minnesota, which we obviously have going on right now, snow everywhere. In these winter months, prime time is massive because when it's snowing, when you're in the middle of a snowstorm and you're getting paid standard rates to go pick up a driver and to pick up a passenger, it takes us like sometimes 3 times longer just to get someone. So if we're not compensated for that, it's not worth driving. It's not worth risking being on the roads to just make a standard fare ride because our chance of being in an accident goes up. We're using more gas because we're on the road for 3 times longer for every single ride. Our per hour earning just goes down. So if Lyft is not going to pay us prime time, it's time to abandon ship. It's time to go over to Uber. And as I said, I'm going to give Uber a try. I'm going to report back to you. I'll leave my conclusion as to which one's better in the description of this video if you're watching this several months from now. Otherwise, I'm going to be making another video really soon reporting back to you as to, you know, what I actually think, what my honest opinion of Uber is. Maybe it's time to abandon rideshare driving altogether. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to report back. So make sure to like this video if you found value out of it, and also subscribe to my channel, hit that bell notification so that when I post the video about whether or not it's still worth it to be a rideshare driver in 2019, 2020, if Lyft driving's, or if Uber driver's any better than Lyft driving, I'm going to be reporting that video. I'm going to be posting that video soon here. I'm in the process right now of applying to become an Uber driver. I think they're just running like the background check on my driver's license. That's the one thing that's pending right now on the Uber application forum. So yeah, with no further ado, guys, I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell notification, and I'll see you in the next one. Letting you know if Uber is gonna be better or not, but honestly, it's gotta be better than Lyft at this point because Lyft is just so bad, and Uber supposedly pays prime time, so it's gotta be better than Lyft. So, all right, I'll see you guys in the next video.